Hi, everyone. Welcome to another episode of Conversations with Cybersecurity. And today I have a very special guest from India, and her name is Bishakha Jain. Bishakha, please introduce yourself.
Thank you so much, Dr. Cybersecurity, for having me on this show. Hi, everyone. I am Bishakha Jain. As already mentioned, I am from India. I work as a security consultant with IBM. I am also associated with IBM's community, WISE, which is Women in Security Excelling, an initiative for promoting women in security. I have also worked with various other communities like Winja, Women in Cybersecurity, OWASP, InfoSec Girls, and I am currently leading InfoSec Kids, which is an initiative for making kids and their parents aware about security. I'm passionate about collaborating with people, learning from them, and mentoring them in the security domain. So, yes, that was about me.
That is wonderful, wonderful. So, what questions and what topics do you want to talk about?
So today I want to talk about, or rather throw light about, one of my key takeaways from your teachings. I
Okay.
have been one of your sincere fans from very early in my career, and I was always a good employee. Yet I wasn't happy with the work I was doing. So I wanted to pursue my master's, but I was very clear in my head that I wanted to pursue master's in security. Hence, I pursued the same, which is MBA in cybersecurity from Symbiosis.
Mm-hmm.
And in this journey, I came to know that I am way more passionate about marketing security more than anything else. And with the lot of communities which I work in, I did get a platform to do the same and inspire people to pursue careers in security.
Mm-hmm.
But I would say that I was fortunate that I had resources. I tried researching about resources, and then I made the moves, and I was able to explore because initially I was a pen tester. Going forward, right now I am into security strategy.
Mm-hmm.
But what I want to know is how can I manifest the same thought process into my mentees, because I am into mentoring as well, and make them explore various aspects of security and then eventually realize where they fit into, like I did.
So this is a good question because because we were talking about during the networking, when we were talking before this, we started the show, you mentioned something about that you had read my work, and that kind of gave you the understanding of what cybersecurity is. The problem is that too many people are actually equating security and cybersecurity, and the two aren't the same. So you should encourage the mentees at least to read the first chapter of my book, Cybersecurity Leadership, and that is available for free. If you go to my website or YouTube channel, that is available for free. I made that available back in 2014, so it's been around because I want people to understand what is cybersecurity first, and they need to understand this broad, massive discipline. And then, as you notice, you have also focused. You decided that you are more interested in the marketing aspects of cybersecurity. Brilliant. That is the kind of focus everybody needs to have because the field is too broad to really be an expert in everything. Yes, there is a need for generalists. Those are the top level executives. So when I was CIO or CISO, those kinds of executives have to have that broad level thing. But you see, remember that they're not necessarily going to do hands on anything, right? All the people that are going to hands on anything have to be much more narrowly focused. So they're going to be leaders, they're going to be executives, they're going to be second tier executives or more specialized executives, whatever you call them, doesn't matter, but they have to be focused. And that is so the key thing is for them to discover their passion. Once they have to figure out the breadth of the field, where is it that they want to make their mark? You see, you recognized that you enjoy the marketing aspects of security or cybersecurity, whatever you call it. Terminology is not so important, but you understand that that's what you're passionate is about. And that is fantastic. So once they understand the broad aspect, then you can help them narrow down. Okay, now that you understand the broad aspect, what what attracts you? What part of it attracts you? What do you
So
think
when
about
I
it?
say
So you have to have the conversation with them.
yes. So when I say that I am into a lot of community work, so networking is something which came given with the kind of work I do.
Hmm.
And when I believe knowledge is nothing but the flow of information. The more people you know, the more information flows through your, vicinity.
Hmm.
And I have learned so much from so many accomplished people in this field,
Hmm.
small aspects of security, which made me where I am today. And I know I have an ocean to explore further as well. But
Hmm.
then this is something which I manifested through marketing,
Hmm.
the networking part of it. It excites me to collaborate and work with people. So yeah, that is what is exciting about this job of mine.
Yes, and in your case, you almost have to be like a journalist kind of a person also,
Yeah.
because you have to know this depth and breadth of it. Because you're a marketing person, you don't know what you're going to market, what aspect of it, because people may ask you to market almost anything, right? So you will have to have a broad level of knowledge with everything, just like a journalist would. You see, but a journalist is still not a subject matter expert in the field, which is fine.
Right.
We need everybody. This is the thing that people don't realize, that this modern world of cybersecurity spans every discipline that's out there right now.
So let me throw light on InfoSec Kids, which is
Okay.
another initiative of mine. And you can say that over the time
Hmm.
this became so big with one small strategy of mine, which is 100 days of infosec. So you have
Hmm.
also contributed in the same.
Yes.
And I never expected it to go global, and
Hmm.
people coming forward proactively telling
Hmm.
me that yes, we also want to celebrate
Hmm.
infosec
Hmm.
in our words. How can we help you? How can we help you with infosec kids? How can we go about it?
Hmm.
I have had students
Hmm.
as well as many people who are 20, 15 years old in the industry
Hmm.
coming to me as to how can we collaborate. Many CISOs came to me overnight. This helped me in making myself a brand,
Hmm.
growing my personal brand. And I
Beautiful.
never realized that it is as simple as thing. Just celebrating what I do could create so much of difference.
Yes.
You know, the, and wow, I mean, I don't think there is anything like it, better like it. So what I want is how can I continue the same thing once this 100 days are over. I will have to again strategize some other aspects or fundas which will strategies which will help people to know more about security. Every message has
Hmm.
some meaning in them, and my motto is if even one person goes back reading those messages by so many accomplished people, those 100 people
Hmm.
who come forward, I think my job is done. If I can influence one person per day in those 100 days, 100% the 100 day, I think I've done a lot
Yes.
for
Hmm.
myself
Hmm.
and for the community.
Hmm.
So how can I continue doing same?
Well, the thing is that you almost often let your community drive it. So now that you're making these connections, again, you're discovering new things, interesting things, and you're featuring their work, you're learning, and at the same time, people are coming to you with various requests. So you kind of feel, because again, it's what you really want to do. This is the fun part of it. You get to choose what you want to do, you see? And let fun be your guide, because if it's no longer fun, you don't want to do it. You're not going to enjoy it, right? If it feels like drudgery, that's bad.
Yes, I like strategizing things and making ideas, have ideating things which will go children, because infosec kids is all about children and
Hmm.
security.
Hmm.
So they
Hmm.
won't understand algorithms, they won't
Hmm.
understand any risk or compliance. What they will
Hmm.
understand is story. And
Hmm.
I am an avid reader, and I like storytelling, and I like to teach people. And this is something
Hmm.
I found out after working with various communities and various aspect of this domain. I have been into the technical side as well as the strategic side, ended up
Hmm.
in the marketing side, and it's very fun. I like what I do.
Okay. So then another possible way, you just talked about the enjoyment that you do with storytelling, right? So you can see what other people might be doing. And there is one of my mentees who's doing comics. So she tries to explain various aspects of cybersecurity through comic strips. She produces these comic strips. So since you're in that infosec kid area, you could potentially create interesting, like illustrated material, could be funny material, could be videos, could be interactive things, could be games even, right? So, I mean, the world is open, is really what you want to do.
Absolutely.
What else did you want to talk about?
So this was the things which I wanted, what can I do more to create a brand of mine? What can I do to reach out to more people
Hmm.
and more children? How can I go about teaching children in schools, which I already do through IBM's various initiatives, which is Cyber Day for Kids, Cyber Day for Girls. I have educated close to 1100 diversity participants in the lockdown on
Hmm.
careers in cybersecurity.
Hmm.
So, making people who don't know about it understand what information security and cybersecurity is about is it's very much fun. And yes, as I already said, the agenda has always been inspiring people to pursue this domain, and there is an ocean of opportunities which this domain provides. So, what more can be done? To continue further with another types of initiatives or collaboration, like one should not stop their journey with one type of format. I believe the more creative you can be, the more people you will attract and inspire in the quest. So yes, what are more strategies then do you think that would go ahead apart from comics, about apart from storytelling? I want to reach out to the globe and teach them why security is important. That is the only motto.
Well, right. So you can produce videos. You're already doing articles and blogs, and you're curating stuff, and that's fine. But you can do other kinds of content also. You can put together events. You could put together conferences. I mean, the possibilities are literally endless. But I still would encourage you to focus more on the cybersecurity word. The lingo is kind of important, because if you read my work, you probably noticed that I do discuss InfoSec was a model that was used from 1991 to 2001.
Yes.
From 2001, the models that were used were called information assurance. Then
Yes.
around 2013-14, even that model became obsolete, because the information assurance model did not have several things. If you read my book, you notice that the key thing I talk about is the mission of the organization. The information assurance model or the InfoSec model did not have mission, risk, governance, people, culture. None of those things were there. Yet, for the 30 years that I practiced this, I never did anything without looking at the mission, right? If I was with a nuclear power plant, then I had to focus on their mission, nuclear power plant's mission. When I was with a healthcare organization, I had to focus with their mission, right? So unless the mission is fulfilled, nothing else matters. So the discipline of cybersecurity is a very applied discipline, and anybody practicing must understand who my client is. What are my goals? If I'm in a healthcare organization and I cannot do healthcare, doesn't matter if there is security, right? So the infosec people were really focused on security. That's it. They didn't care about the mission. They didn't care about anything else. But cybersecurity professionals, the true cybersecurity professionals, particularly the ones that are coming up through my work, my mentees, the people that are coming out through my work, they understand the mission. Without mission, nothing will work. And that is why you will see many of my former students who graduated are winning back to back global awards, which is unbelievable. How can one professors, students be winning awards 2 years in a row? Because many of the schools are still focused in that infosec. They have not migrated to this cybersecurity because the old books and all those materials are still being recycled. Many organizations, universities are not building their own content. They're just going to a vendor and they're getting the same content that's for a certification program and putting it in a degree program. They're doing that.
Right, right,
So
right.
we have to be
Absolutely.
very careful about that. Cybersecurity is this digital strategy of the organization. We don't care about the security. Security is a given. If you cannot protect, if you cannot maintain the confidentiality and the integrity and the availability of the data, you should be fired. You shouldn't be in the job. It's very simple, right? That's a
Yes,
given. Now the question is, how are you powering the mission? How are you making money for the organization? How are you creating innovation? Because this field is perpetual innovation. So again, in my work, you probably saw I define the cybersecurity as perpetual innovation. And the simple way I describe it, what? People powered perpetual innovation, because innovation is done by people, right? Look at your mind, look at your brain. You're continuously thinking. Even right now during this conversation, you were thinking, what can I do next, right? What can I do next? So that is the human innovation we can never replace, right? And that is the most critical element of cybersecurity.
true. It actually makes a lot of sense because infosec is something which has been branded, but mostly we are into cybersecurity. People are very, adamant in accepting and appreciating the fact that these are two different domains, and which is why still we have to go by the infosec lingo to make them understand that yes, cybersecurity is something which is different, but the roots are the same, right?
The roots are the same, but we need to understand that the infosec concepts are obsolete today. That
Yes,
must be stressed because nobody really cares about security. If you really think about it, a business person doesn't care about security. They care about running the business. So if you
absolutely.
try to focus on the security as a marketing person, you should recognize that there are some trigger words. Even if you talk about cybersecurity, it will trigger negative reactions from a lot of people. Instead talk about business enablement, digital strategy. Now you soften the field. That's what I did. I practiced it for 30 years. I'm telling you. I negotiated with executives. I implemented this nuclear power plants. I never talked about security. I talked about safety. You have to adapt the lingo to whatever is being used in the organization. So nuclear power plant, safety was the number one thing. Well, if your information is not accurate, guess what? Safety is going to be compromised, right?
Absolutely.
People are going to
Yes.
die if the information is not accurate. So tie it to that. In the healthcare sector, what did I do? I tied it to patient safety. Patient safety is paramount in a hospital, in a medical environment. So what did I do? I said patient information safety.
Yes.
Because
So
again,
it's based.
if the patient information is not accurate and there's no safety of the patient information, then the patient health safety isn't there either. I never
Absolutely.
talked about security, never talked about technology, never talked the aspects, and also had a disaster recovery plan because the system might not be available, but I still got to see patients. So always
Nice.
had that. You see?
It's really nice. You throwing light. There's nothing like it. You throwing light, and the most important thing which people fail to understand, and that couldn't be any better than learning from the person himself who has marketed security for over 3 decades now.
Mm-hmm.
So yes, s- I am really glad, and this brings me to another topic, which is when you talk about cybersecurity, people relate it to hacking.
Mm-hmm.
And when you talk about hacking, people think it is a negative thing. But what I would like to say is hacking is nothing but a mindset, and cybersecurity is not just about hacking. See, I like marketing. There are many people who do different things, strategize things. Like I am into secure strategy also.
Mm-hmm.
So yes, this mindset has to change. It's not just hacking, and the hacking is not bad.
No, that is why it is very important that as you become an influencer and you start building your brand, you must start every conversation with a definition of cybersecurity. Define it, explain it, let them understand it, let them give it back to you. If they don't get over that hurdle and they don't understand the broad and they only think about hackers, you're never going to make any headway with them. So my graduates, the people that I've mentored, that's what they do. They start first. They even put my definition up on their websites and everything. They say, look, first of all, understand this. Then tell me what aspect, because they're looking for jobs. Sometimes they want a resume rewritten, okay? But they still don't know what they're going to do. They say, oh, I got this certification. I want a job in cybersecurity. Then when she asks, what aspect of cybersecurity do you like? And they cannot answer because they don't even know what it is. So these are the things. So if you don't get them to understand the whole field, it'll be very hard to make it through. But we had a fantastic conversation, Bishakha. I am really glad that you came and chatted with me. And I am going to bring in my next guest, Debby Kruzic, next.
Thank you, sir. Thank you for the opportunity.
Please introduce yourself,
Fun. How
Debbie.
are you, Dr. Hasib? Can you hear me okay?
Yes, welcome.
Wonderful. Well, thank you so much for having me today. I'll just give you a quick background. I started selling Macs and PCs and software in the 80s, and then decided that, or like you were talking about, I found I really like technology. And so I started my own company reselling other people's software and hardware in the document management world. So it's very funny, Dr. Hasib, that you were a keynote at ARMA, because I've
Oh,
been a member
okay.
since 1995. And it's very humorous. But so pretty much that's what I've done for over 27 years, had my own company. And then I launched my ad tech-only platform, TechDin, recently. And so just to kind of go feedback on what you all were talking about, I think it's really interesting to have that. You need to have a broad thing to figure out what you like. And I found out I like technology, but I was also good at sales. And so, selling technology solutions, where you were talking about, Bishakha, that you want to market, that is a career. And I think sometimes what I've seen is people get fixated on the cybersecurity or being security, when they could really have a really, great job being a installer and technical salesperson. So that's kind of my background. So I enjoyed the conversation because I can relate to it.
That is wonderful. So, what topics do you want to talk about, Debbie?
Well, I think what we've been talking about, Dr. Hasib, is kind of similar. I'm trying to build my platform, which its main goal is to let people see a whole broad, type of technology and what's out there, so they can decide what might be of interest, right? So you don't say, I want to do this. Well, you don't really know about that. I want people to see all kinds of opportunities and software and technology out there, and be able to learn from others. But I think I have the same trouble that many people have, especially in the vendor world, for the background that I've come up with. They don't want to give out their information. They want something in exchange. And so it's very interesting to struggle with that, we're all offer somebody free publicity, but they don't want it because they want somebody's email in exchange. And so I found that very enlightening. I never expected that. And so I guess, Dr. Hasib, I know you've talked about that too. It's like, how do you get people to be open-minded and go like, hey, of course, I want to share what I have, without all of the marketing tools and, wanting the email and all your information to get you in campaigns, without really understanding that, like you said earlier, Dr. Hasib, if they see something and they like it, they'll reach out. So
Yeah,
how do you get people to have the faith?
right. No, so they don't understand that the marketing world has changed completely in between. So, here's what happened with the marketing world. Marketing world always has been about relationships. That's what we used to have before the age of the internet and the email and all this mass spamming and all these capabilities, right? Then what happened is that when technology came, people thought, oh my God, now my funnel, because see, they have been learning this funnel things and all that, right? You start with your funnel, and the bigger your beginning, the rim of the funnel, okay, the more likely you're going to have more business, right? So they think, my God, my funnel just got gigantic with these thousands of people that I can spam now, right? And so they started spamming, and to a certain extent, it worked for a little while because it was okay, it was new, not that many people were doing it, so the early birds started to get the business, I suppose. But now it has become so bad that all the spam and the spam control mechanisms have become better, so all the spam is going somewhere. So now actually these people are struggling, and now they're coming to social media and all that, and their own content, they're still in this mode of trying to collect these leads. They think of every human being as a lead, which is kind of silly, because if you build relationships, you will actually have a bigger funnel. And the thing is that if you create a connection, and the very first thing you do is a direct marketing spam in their private message, what happens? As soon as I get that, I block the person. That person is lost to me forever. Now, how idiotic is that? Why would you DM me asking me for 15, 30 minutes of my time to listen to whatever the hell you're selling? I don't have time for that. Nobody has time for that. Think about that. I have 12, 13,000 connections. If everybody wanted 15 minutes of my time, would that be logical? No. If you want 15 minutes, come to this thing and talk about some substance educational content, and we can have a great conversation. But I don't want a sales job here either, right? So we have to change their mentality. And the thing is that there are some people who are retrained. So I have actually coached and retrained several marketing people. That is one of the courses that I do have, which is retraining them in this modern world of marketing. And the first thing they have to do is not just know about their product. They have to know, just like I told Bishakha, they have to know what is cybersecurity. They have to know the model. They have to be able to explain that. And they have to now know which aspect of that cybersecurity model their company is addressing. They also need to know who else they can partner with, because they have to address all aspects of the model. Right? If you want to be a value-added partner to anybody, a typical CIO isn't going to want to deal with 30 different vendors. They will probably want to deal with one value-added partner who understands my problems and I trust, right? I trust, and then that person then brings all the right solutions for my environment so that my work is reduced, my problems are reduced, right? I mean, selling is not marketing, it's really building relationships. Understanding your client is like a spouse even, right? Don't you work on that relationship? You always understand what is it that would please them, and then you try to please them, right? It is that kind of a relationship. It's always been that kind of relationship. And then what happens? When that relationship has that level of value and trust, then what? They don't care about the price, right? Because price always has to be under the value, right? Value higher, price lower, you got the sale, right? So trust is a feeling, right? Value is a feeling. So you have to generate these feelings. And it's certainly not going to happen with a DM asking for 15 minutes of my time when they haven't even read any of my work or don't even know what I do, really. I asked them, I said, have you read any of my books? No, they haven't read anything. So, but they want 15 minutes of my time because I think they understand that, okay, maybe I can get to some business. I probably can. But this is not the right way, right? So I think they need to be trained. And I think you're kind of doing a little bit of that. And the resistance is coming from the people that have closed minds. They're not willing to learn. It's okay. You can't teach everybody.
That's true. What are your thoughts about social media, and where do you think things are going, with, just with privacy and all? What do you feel is going to happen, like with B2B marketing in social media? Do you think it'll stay like it is for a while, or do you have thoughts there?
Well, social media is what we make of it, right? So certain platforms are going to be, and we need to be open to multiple social media, right? Because the part of the problem is that these people change companies and then they change things, and who knows where it's going to be. I mean, even LinkedIn has changed quite a bit ever since, say, Microsoft took it over. And I don't know its future. So I have to be open to all kinds of platforms. So it's not like where is social media going? It's like what I want to do and which social media platform or platforms meet my needs, you see? So I get to choose. So for example, I used to be a pretty heavy Facebook user in the past, but I don't use Facebook anymore because if Facebook is not going to respect my privacy or my data or any of that, then do I really want to be in that environment? And if you know, I mean, I think a lot of people have fled from there also. So I think social media platforms have a responsibility to do a better job of preventing breaches, preventing the lapses of privacy and things like that, or selling our data to parties that we haven't really authorized. So a lot of it depends on us. But I also think that the advent of blockchain may change a few things. So for example, right now, a lot of the fields of data are stored in the various custodial databases, right? At some point it's going to come that I will have control over all of my fields, all of my data, all of my records, and they won't necessarily be housed in every company centrally as it is today. I mean, the whole economy could change in about 10 years. One of the books you might consider reading is called The Blockchain Revolution. It's a very amazing book. Gives
Oh,
you a vision of a possible future where banking is decentralized, a lot of trade is decentralized. You see, the environment where, say, a company like Uber that doesn't own any cars or have any employees actually make more money than the poor drivers who are actually doing the work. You see, the whole model has to change. We have to take back our power. That is part of the reason that I also wrote this book, Bringing Our Greatness Out, because what has been happening is that too many other people who are not producing the value are actually making more money than we value producers. Okay? See, if I'm bringing in $100 million of business, but I have a boss who's not really bringing any business or really doing even the delivery of the business, shouldn't be making 2, 3 times my salary, right? In a capitalist economy, your compensation should be proportional to your contribution to the bottom line. And the only way to get that under control is through personal branding and making sure that you never work for a single employer, that you always enterprise yourself, right? We are a company ourselves, right? And we should be able to sell our services to as many people as possible. And we shouldn't be selling just one service because humans are not single dimensional either. We're multidimensional. So we should be selling multiple services,
well,
right?
I really enjoyed your book. I have read it. I did read it. So
Oh, you finished it. Good.
yes. So
And I talk about that, right? I mean, look, I just got into voice acting. Who would have thought that I would be getting into voice acting and producing audiobooks for others? I have 5 clients, and I couldn't take 2 of them, but I'm gonna have 3 clients. I mean, that is amazing. because some of these clients, they want very aggressive deadlines, right? They want the book finished this month. I'm like, wait a minute, I'm already working on something. So, yeah. What else, Debbie?
Gosh, I think that was it. I was just, like I said, I think we have some common. I really like the cross-brand promotion. Definitely agreed with that. And, a lot of things you've talked about. So I think that's kind of what I'm trying to build, and that philosophy, I agree 100% with you and appreciate.
I think you've done a great job. I took a look at your site and I took a look at the way you've presented my material. You've done a very nice job because it looks very professional. You've provided a little short summary and everything, and people have information about the people, and so they can contact them and all that. And it's shared in a very nice professional way. So I think that's great. I think that also matters because that also shows your brand, your passion for quality. So I think what you're doing is very, very good.
Thank you
Great.
for having me tonight.
Absolutely. So really, really enjoyed it, Debbie. And now we're going to go into the networking portion and network for a little while. Thank you.
Thank you.